Hello and welcome to Virtual Events on Demand. My name is Sean Snowday. I'm online with Latara. What we're going to be going over is our event coming up, and we have an event coming up on January 24th to promote this. But we're going to be going over everything that people are going to get into this, and we'll do like a little promo video. But this is going to be, it's in 13 days, so it's about 2 weeks away. And this landing page is really very simple page. It's just one page. It's the fold, and then below the fold, and then we have captivate audiences and master the art of seamless online conferences. So what a lot of people are doing right now, it's so funny because I go to a live event. So Latara, do you go to a lot of live events face to face?
No, almost everything I do is virtual.
Online events are here to stay. They're not going anywhere. With the automated marketing summit, which everything leads to the automated marketing summit, the online events, I found talking to people, they would go, Sean, here's what I need to do. If I'm going to go to a live face-to-face event, I need to kiss my wife and my children goodbye for a week. I have to rent a car. I have to rent a hotel at $250 a night. I have to buy a ticket for $2,500. I have to buy an airline ticket, round trip, $1,500. Like, it's all of this money. But when you go to an online event, it's click a button. Now, another guy that I met was in the heartland. He had to tend to his animals, even though he was a digital marketer. And he's like, look, I'd love to go to these events. I wanted to go every year. So he was really happy. I had an event called Business Investor Conference. He was a business investor. And he was just so happy because he could still stay with his wife and kids, most important things in his life, next to his dog. And yep, I went there. And he got to tend to his animals, plus he got to go to the event. So it was really amazing. Plus you get the recordings. Okay, so this event Latara and I are going to be doing, so we're just going to go over it a little bit. When you opt in, okay, you do not need to put your phone number. This should not be mandatory. Okay, so then when we join, we'll see that this is going to be a 3-day conference. All right, Latara?
Yep.
So you've got to be able to fit these days. So it's going to be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, January 24th, 25th, 26th. You get the VIP here. I think this is where you pay $7 to get the worksheet. Okay. So then when they go in here, they got to put in their credit card number, which I'm not going to do. And then that probably takes them to another page after they pay for that. Okay. So there's going to be 3 workbooks. Every day is going to have a workbook. We're going to scroll through these really fast. So the first one is the way I did this, and I should really colorize these. So day 1 should be like red and these are black. But I just bolded the 1. And so these are going to be the topics we're going to go over day 1 through day 3. We're going to go over the audience-centric approach, choosing the right format and selecting the right technology. So rather than going into the workbook and giving away the farm, I'm just going to, so audience-centric approach, that means finding the right audience. We don't put a hippie on a military base. So Latara, what are some of the things you do in order to find the right audience? I know there's workbooks out there, but is there anything specific that you do?
Joining groups on Facebook and LinkedIn with that avatar, where they're hanging out, basically.
Right. So how do you know what the avatar is?
Are you asking me for my personal avatar?
Yeah, like how do you so if it's weight loss, you probably want to find people that want to lose weight. But then if you want to niche down, it might be weight loss for men. And then the weight loss for men might not be these big old fat bald guys that you might get pictured in your head that want to lose weight. It might be MMA fighters that need to their welterweights, and they need to fit their weight class. You see what I'm saying? So now I'm really niching it down. Just because it's
Yeah.
weight loss, they could still have ripped abs and be cut, but what is happening is they have too much bulk, too much muscle. So they got to lose that muscle and lose that weight so they can get into that class of fighting so they can be men. And then, men, like women are like, hey, would you like to sip some tea and have some brie and cheese and have a great little conversation? And men are like, hey, if we built a cage, I bet you I could kick your ass, right? So men are kind of stupid at times. I don't even know why I'm going that way, but how would you find your audience? How do you niche them down? Like, do you go all the way down to the type of shoelaces, how they tie their shoes, or how deep do you go when you're finding your audience? Is
Well,
it
I
women?
love how much you can niche down on social media because you can literally put any keyword into the search bar and find groups just on that specific thing. So you can say women who are into keto and use that as your search phrase, and you'll find groups
Wait, did
where
you say women that are in a taquito?
into keto,
Oh, I thought you said into ketos.
into ketos.
Okay, so they're not rolled up in a tortilla, right?
No.
Okay. Hey, we all know it's going to go this way when I'm online. All right, so yeah, so then you could drill them down, and so that's just in the search bar, right?
Yep.
Do you use any other type of software like We the Public or anything like that to drill down?
Um. Well, I actually I haven't done that lately. I've been immersed in social media specifically, but I have used that in the past.
Okay, cool. And so then when I say choose the right format, what I'm saying right here is the right format is how is it going to be like a conference? Is it going to be breakout rooms? Is it going to be, one-on-one? The format of the conference also, is it going to be like a trade show type conference? Is it going to be networking? It could be just people from the stage pitching. So what formats do you usually use? I saw that you were on with Forbes Riley.
hmm
How long have you known her?
Uh, 3 years now, I guess.
Okay. Are you guys good friends?
We're pretty good friends at this point.
Yeah, you're well enough. All right. So, how do you guys choose formats when it comes to such as an event that you had there or with other people? What I really like is when you have the Zooms. I don't like the breakout rooms in Zoom so much because you can't really control them. You control them now?
You
You
can
can choose who
control
goes.
who goes into them. Yeah.
Oh, you can?
Mhm.
Okay. So I remember before they had, I've been using Zoom for like almost a decade, and the thing is that the breakout rooms just used to be willy-nilly. And I'm like, I just saw you people in the last Zoom room. I paid 5 grand to be in this thing, and I'm talking to the same people. So I couldn't really network. But then I also like the ones where they do the happy hour, where it's like, okay, we're just going to open up the Zoom room. Anyone start talking whenever they want, and we're going to do some sippy sip, and we're just going to get drunk and do a flow of consciousness. Well, the problem with that in Zoom is only one person can talk at the time.
Mhm.
But in the breakout rooms, you could at least have smaller groups. So do you ever look before you launch on how you're going to have the right format, whether it's going to be breakout rooms or not?
I don't typically use breakout rooms myself,
Okay.
although that's a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
And I also would lean towards having it a meeting style instead of a webinar style because then you can interact with the audience and it's a lot more engaging.
Right. Yeah. The webinar is just when it's one to many, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm.
and the thing with that I just realized here in my head is that if you are going to do breakout rooms, you have to take your list, and then you have to have all of the names of the people, and then you got to make the breakout rooms. I don't know how it works. And then you got to say these people go in this one and these people go in this one. And then you could have a coach in every breakout room, right?
Yep.
So you can
Mhm.
say this coach to these people and this coach to these people.
Yep.
And they just did that recently, but I wasn't even thinking that that's what they did. But there is planning. Now, on number 3 for day one, when it comes to selecting the right technology, um, there's only really one technology that everyone is using, and that's Zoom. But there are other technologies out there. I use something called AirMeet. Now, with Zoom, there's some limitations. With my technology, there's limitations that I'm not happy with. I'll just tell you them right now. I use this technology called AirMeet. It is it's kind of self-promoting because everyone that signs up for my events gets a free account. So it's like I'm promoting the software while I'm promoting my event, which is unlike Zoom. Zoom, you just opt in and they don't know who opted in and who didn't. But if we want to interact with each other, but that's different, right? My software does not work very well on devices. It won't work on an Apple with that people that log in with Safari. There's an app to log in on a device. And then even though I work with super nerds, they have to be smart enough to copy a link from an email and paste it into the app. Okay. So just think about all of the people that want to be a coach or an author or a speaker that don't even know how to write button click. They're going to go on their iPhone, they're going to go in Safari, they're going to come to my event. They're not going to have the best experience. They'll be able to see the speakers, but they won't be able to go into our um whatever it's called, our lounge, right? Which is what my software is all about, is the lounge, right? So when you do select the right technology, you need to know the limitations of it, such as the breakout rooms in Zoom, and with my technology, the issues with the devices and certain bugs that are in certain browsers, right? I think Zoom works pretty much everywhere. So have you ran into any technological complications when it comes to your events?
Well, there's always tech issues.
right?
That's to be expected. But I've seen people that are doing, these, $100,000 events. Even they have tech breakdowns every once in a while. So you just have to go with the flow. And I feel like your response to the breakdown is more important than avoiding any and all breakdowns.
Yeah,
You just need to keep cool, calm, and collected.
yeah. I like, I was the production supervisor for Landmark for 5 years, and
Nice.
I remember people freaking the hell out, and they called it on it back then, and they're like, "You're on it right now. You need to just get off it." And the more you said that, the more angry the other person got. And one time I had actually the forum leader who was supposed to be Mr. Cool. He got all mad at me, and the microphone. So there's a funny little story. The forum leaders are supposed to be these guys that are like centered, and they're like Christ when they walk into the room, right? I'm like, whatever, dude. You're just another guy, but you're leading an event. Well, he had his microphone clip, and I was the production super. So I produced the event for 5 years, all of the events, every single event they had in Austin, Texas. I was the background guy making stuff happen.
Holy cow.
And so when he put on his microphone, his lavalier and his wireless microphone, I guess his shirt or his suspender hit the switch and turned the microphone off, and no one could hear him. Well, back then they had a thing called being invisible in your presence, which means if you're volunteering at the event, none of the attendees should know you exist, right?
Oh, wow.
This has changed. Landmark has changed. Now all of the guests are like, "Hey, everybody, I'm here," right? But when I was doing it, it was like, no one, you should be invisible in your presence and making a powerful difference without anyone knowing it, right? That was the technology. So anyhow, he turned his microphone off. And so I wasn't allowed to get up out of my chair and run up and turn it back on. So I just sat there, and it was a breakdown. We're talking about breakdowns at events right now, right? So it was a breakdown, and it was how you respond and react. That's the topic that you and I are talking about right now.
Mhm.
So anyhow, he had to go like 10 minutes without a microphone, and he comes back and he just starts getting really angry at me. And he goes, "So the way you respond to someone at Landmark, if they go, 'Why were you late?' You don't come up with an excuse. You just say, 'Because I was late,' right? There's no argument there." So he kept coming up to me and going, "Why was my microphone turned off?" And I kept going, "Because your microphone was off." But you got to remember, I was a kid. I was like in my early 20s, and I was overseeing, these guys were like in their 40s and 50s. So he thought I was being a smartass. And the more he asked me, "Why was my microphone off?" I kept saying, "Because your microphone was off." The more angry he got. And then when he realized that he was on it, he gave me a little slap on my face. Not a hard one, but just like a little, like he understood what I was doing. And then he smiled and walked away. Right. So we have India in here, and we're going to be doing a live event on video virtual events on demand. Is on the 24th, 25th, and 26th. So we're going over that right now. Latara and I are doing it. Okay, so then day 2, we're going to do registration and ticketing. Now here's the deal with registration and ticketing. This is like so easy for people like us, but people that are new are like, okay, when you register, we want your first name, your last name, your email, your phone number, your address, your social security number, your firstborn's first name, your firstborn's little sibling, their age. Like they just make the form so difficult to get in. Now there was and then with ticketing. So we're gonna get into ticketing in a minute, but with registration, one of the super cool things that you could do. So with registering into, let's say, Zoom, it used to be you had to have their first name and last name. And Zoom, it was mandatory. They now made it, there's a check mark. It's very hard to find, but if I'm going to integrate, let's say, ClickFunnels or Lead Pages into Zoom, into Infusionsoft using plus this, I can now do it, but I got to remove the check mark in Zoom. It's in their first and last name. It's in there by default. Okay, which I don't like, because every time I got to figure out where it is.
Mhm.
And then when people register, I ask for their first name and their email. But there was a time where I had to ask for their first name, their last name, and their email. And people really don't like giving their last name. Every time you ask for more information, it makes it less, it lowers the conversions, right?
Yep.
So we don't need to go deep into that. But when it comes to ticketing, has anyone ever used any type of ticketing system to do tickets like Eventbrite?
Eventbrite, yep.
Yeah, I've used Eventbrite.
But have you used it for ticketing?
No.
So I'm going to tell you guys, the really super cool thing about Eventbrite is you can automate your early bird, right? So you could say, by the way, one of the things, I shouldn't even tell you guys this, but I'll tell you anyhow. When someone gives you like a link and they're like, "Hey, we're giving away affiliate links and you can customize your affiliate link," I always get early bird. That way the affiliate link, even though it looks like, even though it's not an early bird thing, people go, "Oh, it's early bird," right? People know what that means.
Mhm.
So in Eventbrite, and there's other ticketing systems out there, you could do your event 6 months in advance. And you could say, let's say it's January and you launch in June. You could say January and February, the tickets are $7. March and April, they're $47. And April and May, they're $97. And it automatically ups the price. I don't know if you guys knew that or not.
No.
So you could do that, and then people have to pay. And then what you do, and you can integrate it with Zapier to Infusionsoft, Keep, or Kartra, or whatever, however you're going to do it. The ticketing is really super cool. One of the things that we want to do at the Automated Marketing Summit is I want to charge like $10 to get into the event. Now, that's not a lot of money, but there's certain people that I don't want in there. I held back on this, but my friend had an event yesterday, and it was just him, and he was he did he did his little PowerPoint thing, so he wasn't able to look in the chat until after the thing, and there was a troll in there, just trolly being a troll. And it was like a 3-year-old, so it wasn't like these disgusting teenagers that go in there, but he was just going poo 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 poo, right? He's using the word poo because for him that's a bad thing, right? But still he got trolled, right? So what ticketing does is it decreases the trolls. Now, you're never going to decrease the trolls all the time. Ask me how I know, because people let me in their events. I'm just kidding. Anyhow, but I've been to events where people are starting fights. This one guy, I won't say his name, started a fight with me because I was doing all the Jeff Walker work, and he was like, well, that was supposed to be me. And I'm like, well, we won the bid and he chose us, right? And he was like he was drunk. He's just an alcoholic going around, and he gets mouthy, right? And he's bigger and taller than me, but I stood my ground. I'm like, dude, you may be bigger and taller, but I'm from a completely different planet when it comes to people stepping up, right?
So
Well,
it wasn't on Zoom.
Huh?
So it wasn't on Zoom.
No, it was at an Infusionsoft live conference, and it was at my booth. And then another guy, and then he was in one of Ryan Dice's books. Ryan Dice mentioned him in a book, and he literally got kicked out of. He got banned. It's just such bad behavior. So with the ticketing system, you can actually ban some people from signing up using a specific email address, but they can always use a different one, right? Okay, so then another thing on day 2 is going to be assembling your dream team. So just so you guys know, you are my dream team. I never expected when we started working with each other years ago to be working with each other on this event or other things that we're doing. But my dream team are just people that are committed and that live by my core values. Then you want to set your budget. So I want to ask India and Latara, when it comes to setting your budget for, now this is a good one, because my coach actually said, well, I don't really set a budget. I just spend money. I can't remember what she said, but then she had to come back and backpedal, right? Because I'm like, you may not set your budget, but I bet your bookkeeper and your accountant are going to go look at these numbers. And then your project manager is going to go, what the hell, right? So someone in your company is setting the budget, right? It's just, that's why that word's there. And we do the same thing in our family. Like when I go out to the grocery store, I always buy the same things. So that's not a good example. But I don't want to go and spend $250. Okay. I've done this when in my youth, I did this so many times. I'd spend $250 and I'd throw away $225 worth of food. Then I'd be like, okay, I'm going to do it different next time. And I'd go and spend $250. Like I'd buy lettuce and vegetables. I got vegetables in my refrigerator right now that I bought 3 days ago. Haven't cooked them yet. Right? I might end up throwing them away. So how do you guys set your budget? Is there any specific technique you use or?
Well, because I haven't had a consistent income. Sometimes it's really great and sometimes it's not so great. So it's hard to know what to spend per month. I know that I don't want to go, like I have my coaching. I have when it comes to marketing, I look at it and I just kind of gauge, but
Right.
it's hard when your income is sporadic. I mean, it's like all over the map,
Right.
Every month I'm going to make this so I can spend, this amount.
Right. Like I just ran Facebook ads, I lost $250 in 10 minutes. Or what was
Yeah.
it? It was like 16 minutes or something like that. And my coach is like, just do it this way. I'm like, dude, I don't want to do it. Just do it. And I did follow. And then this is what he said. Oh, bro, sorry about that. Oh, really?
Oh, speaking of which, Jane Wesley, the attorney that we had that discussion. I hope y'all worked out everything. She had some Google thing her word change, she said, and I don't know if she was explaining it right. And it hit her card. She ended up spending 20,000 and she had a 6,000 cap. So I don't know how that happened.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's things that was probably me just being angry. But
Yeah.
when we're saying setting a budget in this context, we're saying for your event. So Ryan Dice and Roland Fraser had a great podcast. I listened to their podcast. Um, and you know, like people don't know this, but a pot of coffee is $500. Okay. When you go to the convention center. That's why, you know how you used to see coffee all the time at events and now you don't see it anymore? There'll be like water in the room, but no coffee because it's expensive. We would buy cakes, 3 cakes, $500 for a freaking cake. Now it was a big cake, but it was still $500. And when you're at the convention center, you can't buy a cake outside for 25 bucks and bring it in. They'll go, what the hell's that doing here? Get that the hell out of here.
Wow.
$1,500 on chocolate, $500 a day for 3 days, right? But what the cake did is when people came up to get a cake, we would say, you can have a piece, but we need your contact information. So it was building leads. So if out of the $500, if out of all of those people that day where we captured their contact information, we closed one deal, that paid for the cake, right? So it was a lead magnet. So you really got to look at things when you're setting your budget. But also Ryan was saying, I think, that certain things, if you wanted like a red carpet on the ground, that costs, like everything costs money. Deanna Rogers would be the best one to talk to about this, but yeah, so you've really got to do now when it comes to virtual events, your budget's going to be a little bit different. Your budget is going to be Facebook ads, Google ads, like YouTube ads, LinkedIn ads. It's also going to be the software that you're using. It could be the microphone that you're using. My microphone costs a little bit more than I should have spent, but um I don't know if I told you guys this, but I made a video and then I used this microphone, which is a $500 microphone, and like the whole setup costs almost like 800 bucks, right? But I have a $40 microphone, and so I had to splice these two videos together. It sounded the same. I was like, what the hell, people? Now, if you were to really listen, like I could yell in this and it won't max out, and the other one I couldn't yell in, right? So this is a professional microphone, but you got to set your budget for what you're going to be doing. Also, another thing that I have in my setup here, which everyone should have that does virtual events, is I have, if you don't have a laptop and a USB microphone that goes off the laptop, I have I have all these monitors. I have a desktop computer. I have this microphone hooked up to this cloud generator thing. And then I have my wireless modem, right? And I have my modem. I'm hardwired to the internet right now. There's a reason I'm telling you all this, is when my power goes out, and you never know when your power goes out, I have what's called a UPS. And my UPS is a battery, and it keeps everything turned on. So it keeps my wireless router turned on, all of my monitors, my microphone, and my computer. Okay. So just because you have a laptop and a wired microphone, if your power in your house goes off, your modem's going to turn off and you're going to lose internet and you're going to disconnect. But you also want to create a comprehensive timeline. So with your comprehensive timeline, Latara, do you do those? Do you build out the timeline for everyone?
Oh, yes. Yes.
And what challenges do you have with that?
I usually start promoting later than I intended to.
Yeah.
Almost inevitably.
Everybody does, I think. That's why it's good to have a calendar. So I have a calendar on my wall. I have my calendar right here. I got to start promoting yesterday, just like you said, but I'm building all this stuff, right? So I have something coming up on the 19th. I did blast out an email the other day. And by the way, in the email, I had to be determined for the link. And a lot of people replied with like, where's the link? Did you do this on purpose? And then I forgot in the PS, I forgot to put the date there. So people were like, Shone, you totally screwed up. Well, the good news is I got engagement on my emails. The bad news is don't do that. And what they were doing before is they're saying the time is to be determined. But I don't even like when people do that. It's like, I want to put it on my calendar, you know? So I had to look out for future emails to see what time that was. So another thing about a comprehensive timeline is when you have speakers are not going to shut up. I don't have a problem going, wrap it up right now, right? You got 5 minutes. So when I did Landmark, we would hold up little things and we would let the speaker know, the person at the front of the room, because again, I was the production super. I was the guy in the chair in the back. I was overseeing the whole room and the whole team, right? I did this before I got sober, by the way. I couldn't believe I'd be all freaking whacked out on drugs and I'm going to make a powerful difference in your life, right? And I've been up for 3 days. Anyhow, we would hold up a little 10 for 10 minutes left, 5 for 5 minutes left, 3 for 3 minutes left, right? And you got to hold up the card until the speaker sees it. Well, you can also do that in one of the things, I don't know if you guys have this. I have a stack of these index cards at my desk and I use them for various reasons. But a lot of times when I'm making a video, I can hold something up and so that people get what I'm saying and I can put the word on there. All right. So another thing with timelines is one of the things I learned from the events that I'm doing, we were giving people at the Automated Marketing Summit, we were giving them 30 minutes to speak. And so I talked with my coach and she said, look, if you're going to give me 30 minutes, I'm going to sell something for $97 because I really don't have much time to, to build enough value to sell something for $5,000 or $10,000 or even $1,000. So in 30 minutes, I'm going to go bling, blang, bloom, $97. Go ahead and get yours, right? But if they have an hour, right? So I had to change our timeline for the event for our main speaker to an hour. That way he could sell something for $1,000. Okay. Another thing with the timeline with virtual events, it was like, okay, we're going to do this and then we're going to take a 15-minute break. Did you know that during a virtual event, just like a live event, people go to the bathroom whenever they want? They're not going to go, okay, well, I'm just going to hold it until the 15 minutes break, that's on my little worksheet. It's like, no, man, I'm out of here. I'm going to go. I'm going to come back. I'll give you an example of what I did. There's a movie called Endgame, and it's the thing in Marvel universe where everything comes to a head, right? Did any of you see it?
Nope.
So it's
No.
all Thor. It's like all the superheroes in it, and a bunch of people die. All right. Excuse me. So I was like, oh my God, it's Endgame. It's 3 hours long. So I watched it on a Saturday. So I woke up in the morning. I bought my ticket like a few days prior, where you could pick your seat. I picked my favorite seat, opening day, right? Went home, woke up, had, a little breakfast and a little something, something, drank some water, and then, went to the bathroom, and then I took a nap. Then I woke up, then I used the bathroom again because I drank a lot of water. Not a lot of water, but I drank enough water. And then I took a shower. And then I went to the movie, which was 3 hours long, because I didn't want to take a nap during the movie. I didn't want to fall asleep. I want to stay there. So I prepared for that. The reason I'm telling you this is people will prepare at events. If it's something they really want to be at or a speaker they really want to see, they're going to do things to where they're like, I don't want to miss a thing, right? Kind of like your wedding. I don't know if you guys have ever been married. I've never been married, but I don't know how many people are at the altar and like, hold on a sec, I gotta go to the bathroom, right? You prepare in advance, all right? So that's another thing. So we got rid. So I asked my coach, she said, just get rid of all the bio breaks. All the breaks, just go speaker and then speaker and then speaker. Speaker, networking, speaker, wherever it is, it's not going to be a 15-minute break where, the 15-minute break would be networking. It wouldn't be bio break. Do you see what I'm saying? And a lot of people will say, okay, well, I got to take a bio break. Well, yeah, I get that if you're doing a 6-hour thing, but you still got to prep for that. If you're the speaker or the host of a 6-hour event, you have to know in advance, hey, these are the times that I can take a bio break, right? Because it's 6 hours long. So maybe when you have another speaker up there. Okay, and now building the content strategy. We're coming up to the end of the hour. So the 9th one is really not there, but I put it in there anyhow. The content strategy is once you figure this all out, then you're going to have to market it and get all the content out there. Are you going to do Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, Twitter ads, TikTok? How are you going to get all the information out there? Is it going to be images? Are you going to be posting it in groups? Are you going to be doing the messenger, like spamming people through messenger? Do you have emails that you're going to be doing cold email marketing with? Kind of like what Alex Hermosi does. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into there. And we're going to be going over this on January 24th, 25th, and 26th from 11 to 1 p.m. Pacific, and that's 2024. And the last one is ensuring accessibility and inclusivity. That has to do with a live event. Are there ramps and all that stuff? But in a live event, you can do like, do you have a little, do you have these little cards where you could write some information down and hold it up? Do you have a permanent marker on your desk? Right? I have two of them. I have a red one and a black one. Okay. Do you have permanent markers to where you could write something down? So if someone's not understanding, you could write it on a piece of paper. Like if they're, are they saying taquito or taquito, right? So there's a lot of things that you might want to think of when it comes to inclusivity and accessibility, right? Another thing is, which of course with us, is educating people. If you're using an Apple iPhone and Safari, you're not going to have a good experience. So we need to educate that in our content strategy, letting them know, do not show up. Like the first thing, right when they buy their ticket, the first thing's got to be a video saying, do not show up on a iPhone using Safari or any device using Safari. You're gonna have a bad experience. And if you're gonna use a device, use the app, go to the App Store, get it now. We'll send you the link, and you need to copy and paste the link in there. Now, I even made a video how to copy and paste the link. I'm not gonna go that detailed with these fools. If you don't know how to copy and link, you know. So that's about it. We're gonna wrap it up with just going over everything. Day one, again, it's how to choose your right audience, choose the right format. Are you going to be a trade show? Is it going to be a conference? Is it going to be one-to-many? Is it going to be a meeting? Are there going to be breakout rooms? The right technology. Are you going to use Google, whatever the Google thing is called? Are you going to use Zoom? Are you going to use conference software? There's a lot of different technologies out there. Also, are you going to use Zapier? Are you going to use ClickFunnels? Are you going to use lead pages? What are you going to use for a landing page? Are you using WordPress? Do you have drop downs? What exactly is that? You not need to map this all out. Registration and ticketing. Are you going to have early bird ticketing? Is the ticketing going to go up? Is it going to go up once, twice? Are you going to say the early bird $7 goes up to $47, go to $97? With the registration, what information do you need? Now, with some people, if it's for lawyers, you might need their bar number or something like that in order for them to attend, so that you know it's not someone that's posing, right? Assembling your dream team. We went over having the core values. We spent a lot of time on this, getting your core values and attracting the right people. Because I don't want people that don't align with me and that are going to run out there and run shenanigans or be dishonest, you know, or sell hope, right? It's like, the thing is, it's okay if whatever you're selling is making a difference in people's lives. But if you're like selling snake oil, then I don't want that. And then setting a budget, that's a tough one, because a lot of times when it comes to setting a budget, it's like, well, you got to test it. You got to go, well, do I do this or that or the other, right? But we're going to go all in depth on this in our events coming up. We're going to create a comprehensive timeline. This is exactly, what is your timeline? Is the timeline for marketing? Is the timeline for the event itself? Is the timeline for myself, for like when I get a bio break and when I don't? So we got to look at all these things. We're going to look at all this. And then, of course, building the content strategy. We're all master marketers. And we're going to go into looking at different ways of creating content, maybe using some AI for content, for images and all that. And of course, inclusivity. So the thing is, God multiplies, God does not divide. Everyone's welcome that wants to attend, that can afford the ticket. Anyhow, so that's what we're going to be going over. And this is going to be, this is our worksheet that we're going to have for our paid members, right? We're going to go into everything, and you're going to actually have a worksheet with notes on it. Okay. So I want to thank everyone for showing up. Thank you, Latara Dragoo and India Kern, for showing up. We're going to be going over this event again on January 24th, 25th, and 26th, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific time. Go to Virtual Events on Demand to learn more. Again, it's virtualeventsondemand.com. And thank you for showing up, and we'll see you soon.